when you're in the development business, you align yourself with a lot of different brokers, and the brokers know who you are, and you know who they are. And brokers are opportunistic. They're trying to marry opportunities they see with other people. And so there's usually a steady stream of information coming in. The brokers will get us opportunities to compete in deals. The Zurich American McGuire Woods Law Firm, which was the Richmond Gateway Plaza Richmond headquarters. Pfizer, we did the Pfizer plant out here in Chesterfield. Those were all brokers that brought us to the table to compete for the business. A lot of times they'll bring us this great piece. They say, here's the greatest piece of land you ever saw in your life. There's nothing like it ever. Don't believe that ever. But there's always another piece of land, by the way, Raj. I'm just telling you. Anybody tells you it's the last piece ever, it's just wrong. But that might be a great piece of ground and great for an opportunity. In the case of Spartanburg, we're a few miles down the street from the BMW plant that was built there. There was a robust industrial market, office warehouse, and e-commerce warehouse, and it's very rough terrain. And so there weren't any of these big million square foot boxes, but the market could absorb them. And so what we used these tools to recoup enough cost to take what would otherwise be land that's really irregular and flatten it out enough to do these big things. And so we all won as a result of that.
That's awesome. And you touched on an interesting point. You said there's always another piece of land. So I think you were involved in the Costco development in University City.
Yes.
Okay. So if someone were to look at University City or Clayton on Google Maps, you would think there's no land. How did that come about from idea to develop?
Well, this one's a little different, although I've done stuff like that. So I've done a number of developments. I don't know if you've heard of North Park. Mm-hmm. North Park was the airport bought out most of the homes that were there. There were still a few hundred homes that hadn't been bought out. And we used TIF and eminent domain to buy all the properties, clean them all up, and create flat land for development or new land for development. That's similar to what happened in University City where Costco is. A lot of older commercial buildings, all obsolete, a lot of little individual homes, things like that. University City knew it needed to do something to improve its economic outlook and to reestablish its commercial base. And it first started out being a project that Novus Development was doing, Jonathan Brown, and then he got to a point where he wasn't able to push it across the finish line. And when I say we have interesting things where we get called to say projects, he reached out to Bob Clark, my partner, and Bob reached out to me and says, okay, Larry, we got to go fix this thing. So we came in and we bought Jonathan out, finished up the Costco. We're building a bunch of other stuff around there right now. So you see all those little stores down there, Panera, First Watch, Chipotle, Raising Cane's, Chick-fil-A, Cass Bank, that kind of stuff.
For a deal like that, is Costco leasing?
In this case, Costco's the owner of their own site.
Okay.
And so what they did was they bought the site and built their building, and their real contribution was they generate so much in sales tax that we can use that money to pay for all the rest of the stuff. That's what the TIF does. They capture that retail sales tax.
Got it. That sounds like a home run. And I know Costco is very selective on their sites and where they decide to place, new stores, warehouses, whatever you want to call them.
That's right.
Were you involved at all in bringing them to that site as well, or selling them?
The answer in this case, the answer is no.
Okay.
However, when we got involved, we learned that Costco actually looked for a location here 20 years ago. They just never been able to put it together. And so the West County location happened, the one over in Illinois happened, and the other one, it was sort of, they had to wait until they could get what they really wanted. It was a complicated piece of real estate. Their property that they're on now is only about 16, 17 acres, but it's probably 30 pieces of property that had to be assembled to make that piece.
Wow. Yeah, that must have been quite the headache. Or
it can be. It is a headache.
A little bit of brain damage to put together a deal like that, I would imagine.
Right.
So in